going here. And let's take a look at the lobby, right?
Yes.
Coco, fantastic player, went to the Guillosko Games Championship. Guillosko is a player that came in after finishing 33rd in the open qualifier, and then someone having to drop out of that now is in our final 16.
Yeah, and a couple things that I want to note about some of the players that we're seeing here on screen. This is going to be our first lobby, as you mentioned. We've got Briks and Tiaan, are two African representatives here, and both of them making it into day 3 is quite extraordinary, because there were only two, African representatives going into this whole competition. For both of them to be here is fantastic. And another thing to mention as well, looking over at Coco, they've actually done very well so far in this competition, going for Dragon Alliances in their game, going for that augment, playing well with Aoshin, and they're not the only one that's going to favor the Dragon augments. Travis, also in this lobby, is a big favorite on Dragon Horde as well, or at least has had some good success so far this weekend with it. So if that augment shows up, be ready for it, chat, because there's going to be a lot of potential contention there. So I'm excited to see how this lobby is going to shape up, how these players are going to, bounce off of each other with their particular builds and playstyles that they employ. But this is it, Weeda, going into game 1, round 1 of the day.
Definitely here. Hamtaro with an interesting opener here, right? Gets a sort on the set reroll, something that we have seen perform. I'm sure we've seen a lot of it in this tournament in specific, but despite the nerf, it can still be played. And that's an early set too, with a Rage Wing opener already with the Swain, as well as that Senna in the shop. So options are aplenty right now here for Mandu.
Yes, and we're expecting, we've seen this set, we've seen set reroll come into play at various points in this competition. To already have a set 2 with a BF sword on, pretty solid start. Also got the 2 Rage Wing at level 3, is going to be able to throw in the oh my goodness, the Ragey boy. Why have I blanked on his name?
Swain?
Regardless, Swain. Oh my goodness, yes, I could not think of this champion's name. Yeah, so going to be able to throw in the Swain, going to get 3 Rage Wings straight off the bat, and shaping up nicely for Dragon Mensa 3 as well soon enough. So this is a really good start for Mandu.
It is, right? And even now you look at this as an angle potentially for Trainer as well, should they come for a different drop here. So loads of different things to really look out for right now. Holds the comment to get that Dragon Mensa opening as well. Not necessarily super slammable here if you want to go for specifically set reroll. BT not really the way you want to be on there. Okay.
Ooh.
We saw Scapeas yesterday take Essence 5th specifically for the Lulu. He did already have 2 Trainer going for himself right now, right? So Dual Lotus not the best when you're going for that specific set angle. If that's what we're discussing right now, right? Metabolic could help you get there faster, but I feel like you really need to have Featherweight, Scorch, these combat augments that really help elevate the set, unless you not just want to try to play off of this and try to play more flex from here instead.
Yeah, Mandu's in a position where they're probably going to be win streaking early anyway, we would suspect. So if they take Accelerator, how much use is it really going to be early on? But at least this will keep them going in the later stages of the game.
Gets the Dragomancer option here as well. Has to drop the Rage Wing. I'm also not sure what the prio would be in that situation. I know the traditional Dragonmancer opening, if you have the Jade stuff going for you here, is really strong, but if you don't want to commit to the level, it's going to be a little bit hard to fit it entirely.
Look at this also, look at this also incredible opener here, this Aatrox 2 with the Thief's Glove. If anything's going to be able to take Mandu's board down, it's this. Clearly Mandu was able to scout the rest of the lobby and thought, yeah, maybe I'm actually not the strongest here at the moment.
Also, you just get excited every time you see an Aatrox 2 on board. Right?
Oh, I do.
So So are you calling it? It's the first now already for Briks because he has the.
Yeah, Briks is going to go first. Anytime you go Aatrox 2 in a lobby, you just get first.
Well, meanwhile,
I promise.
Trust me, Sauce. Trust me, bro. Meanwhile, here looking at Tiaan's board, here finds the early Shimmer Scale, and it's going to be the determined investor, which means that it's very nice to get into stacking this early on. You get access to that Diamond Hands, you get the duplicator early on into the game. We'll probably see him lost streaking though, because it's kind of hard for him to really play off of it with the state of his current board.
Yeah, and just a side note as well for anyone in chat who didn't get to see think the Mirage is Executioner's edge, so could be a very good Mirage game as well for these players. And Guillosko there going for the Ascension as well, so that's going to be a very good augment as time goes by.
Yeah, and double accelerator here, I think, is also something that we need to keep an eye out for, right? Because going all the way back to, I think it was the first open qualifier of the last set, back when we just got the augments and Gizmos and Gadgets. There was a lobby on screen. I think it was our first on-stream lobby for the entire set, and we had 4 people taking metabolic accelerator or something like that. It was a wild game. But what can happen when you take metabolic, right? Is that it can help you, like, just scam out games you're not supposed to win. And speaking of, Brubbba right now has an Assassin Crest with an opener that is going to be leaning quite nicely into an Olaf at some point, I would assume, at least, right? Looking quite okay for now, though.
Yeah, all of these boards so far have been so just strong, so incredibly powerful so far. I mean, look at this Kane. Already being itemized, got the Assassin benefit as well, and Ragewing. I mean, this is monstrous. Tiaan stands no chance at this point. But Tiaan potentially building for the... Well, they've got maybe that Dragonmancer angle, also got the Jade angle. If you get a Sirocco in late with Metabolic as well, I mean, you're just healing every single round. You're going to be living a lot longer than you should be in theory. So, yeah, it's definitely a good augment to mention.
Yeah, Guillosko here goes to 5 at 2-3 and actually ends up losing. He did have free trainer, I do believe, right? It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely far from ideal. You'd probably rather have that extra econ to work with.
Yeah, for sure. Now, this is our second carousel of the game. Going to see what players been able to pick up here. And we've got a lovely widget as well on the left-hand side of the screen where you're going to be able to see the items so far and what's currently sitting on the item bench for these players. So early to tell whether people are going to be slamming items or whether they're just going to be making their commitments for later in the game.
Yeah, Briks also went to level 5, interestingly enough, was able to maintain his streak here, so that is going to be positive news for him. The cloak itself here is not really going to help him in any way, shape, or form, but it is going to allow him to get double Mystic in with Trainer in play here, so he's going to be able to stack that Nomsy, get that going. Interesting to see where he's going to be going here, because the Mirage is not necessarily something that you really want to aim to play for, so holding this Noon on the bench here, you could potentially make an argument for trying to make 10 instead. That is 3 plus that's 5 equals win. Left side most likely goes here if Briks wins.
Yeah, and Briks here running the double Mystic plus 2 capes on the board as well. Tell you what, if they go up against an AP comp, they should hold steady, and that's exactly what they have here with this Anivia with the Archangels already. But that Anivia has Ascension in the back pocket, so if they're given enough time and space to ramp, they will. And here it comes. But I don't think that Guillosko has enough of a front line here. At the same time, does Briks just barely going to hold on here with that front line, that Vladimir with the cloak. Got more than enough magic resist here.
Yeah, definitely, man. Again, also, Pony frontline, there's so many things on the board here for Briks right now. His board is just so loaded with units. He's level 5, but he has 8 units on the board already, which makes, gives you some pretty interesting positioning things you can do. 2-star Heimerdinger here is also going to be great, right? It's just a very good unit that you can get to have on the board. The stun is amazing. Getting those extra stacks quicker onto the Nomsy is also going to help you elevate your game plan. And that is something you're going to need, because you look at his components right now. He's double open cloak. He already got dropped to the 2 gloves, right? So he's going to be needing some very nice items here from the Crux coming up in just a second, unless he's going to end up being incredibly dizzy.
Well, he could make a couple little ice cream cones for Nomsy to lick at and be empowered and just be an absolute force to be reckoned with. But something I want to note on Briks as well is that day 1, they actually played a mage composition. They played ASOL mage and came first with it. So clearly they're comfortable playing mage. We know that mage is one of the stronger comps in this, I guess I'd say so far. It might not be meta, but I think it's definitely on the peripheral there.
I mean, mages are fine. Mages are fine to play.
Yeah.
It just comes down to, do you have Silas 2 or not? And sometimes we saw this. I was speaking with Archlevel yesterday after he got knocked out, and there was a game where he was going for mages and he didn't have a Silas 2 until 4-1 or 4-5 or something like that, right? Which is a little bit too late, because you really need to You need that Silas 2 to be your main stabilization point. And like, again, you look at those mage composition, normally speaking, yes, all of the AP items are fine, they're lovely, but you're really looking at frontline items to help elevate that composition.
Yeah, and Silas is going to be one of those champions that's going to be very heavily contested as well, because we know how many Siphon Whisper cards he played. So, you know, oh no, another cape. My God, I bet he's going to get another cape right now. Watch this.
That would be very weird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to a certain extent, right? Briks put himself in this position. He could have gone for Dubly was a Heimerding with a tier, but he valued getting the Nomsy stacking going instead, right? It goes to the early level 6 to maintain the streak. Just to put an extra unit here, it's going to be the Yone, if I'm not completely mistaken. With 3, he can also go 30 here with winning. So, like, he is in a very, very good position financially speaking. Even without winning, actually, right? So he's in a very good position financially, even with this early level. But he really needs to win this round to really start pulling this together.
Yeah, and Briks here, the only one you can see on the right-hand side widget here, chat. Briks the only one to go to level 6 at this point, and it's understandable, as you said, to maintain that lead, to continue this strength onward. And everyone else still kind of sitting at level 5. Though the economies of every player looks roughly, similar. Everyone is econing well. No one player is already, rolled down all their gold to level or to fish for, like a reroll comp or anything like that. So pretty standard stuff so far. And I want to mention, Rita, why do you think Briks is doing so well right now? It's because of that Aatrox too. What did I say? He's on a, 6-win streak right now? Makes sense.
I mean, I've been on bigger win streaks than 6, still not gone first. Let's put it like that, right? But no, Aatrox 2 is definitely one of those very fantastic units, and he's a very good holder of the TG as well. But again, there's just so many unit on the board. Like it is a level 6 but not really. Okay, Travis has already utilized his reroll that ended up giving him the Gadget Expert, right? So that is a pretty good one to look out for here. Preparation is sometimes okay, sometimes not okay. This position you're probably not looking to reroll that much, and having a champion on the bench for 4 rounds is going to be quite a lot here. Meditation is just one of those very, very, very good augments. It's just super powerful. Tiaan now goes for Recombobulator. Did not really find any direction from that Recombob, so a pair of...
Could see a potential Zaya angle coming in later stage, right? Got the Hecarim's there, maybe you can get some Cavs in later. Got like this kind of Rage Ring angle, but it's very, very early stages, and this could definitely shift before we get to level 7, level 8. A lot of items, though, just sitting there, not really committed anything. Yeah, maybe... I don't want to say directionless, but keeping options open.
I mean, you could make an argument that with the double Hecarim, you actually do have an angle that you can start leaning into something like a Dacia, but even then, you are still in a poor position when it comes to direction. You're going to be going very low. The Metabolic Accelerator will offset some of that HP gain, HP loss, or so should I say. Like we see Mandu here has taken the... I believe it was the player Tiaan was facing against, right? They take the Titan Titans, which is a bit more of an aggressive HP gain. So that's going to be an interesting thing to follow for now here. And, well, that's a Siphon. Did we see that on the board? It's a Siphon, but it's going to become a Shioyu.
Yeah. That is an early Siphon there. That's going to be very powerful. And I was just checking actually the second round of augments that we got going on. So Visa, taking that Tiny Titans. I believe you mentioned that. Anything really like speaking to you at the moment? Silver augment's not really super game changing.
I mean, you say that, right? But you look at an augment like, for example, the Tiny Titans, which is super game changing. Visa right now, he's full streaking, and he's at 116 HP. And that is going to be super game time. It's going to be very hard for him to really get on against that again, right? We saw the early Shimmer angle from Tiaan come through. Now he does have that Diamond Hands that at least will help him buy a little bit of time with that early Idas as well now. But he's still going to be taking so much damage here. This 4-1 roll down or 3-5, he could 3-5 it as well. We saw he was about 50 gold, has been there for a while. Is going to be super defining for how his game turns around here, because if he can get in here with a good 3-5 or a good 4-1, and start utilizing that Metabolic Accelerator to the fullest, it's going to be a good one for him for sure. But he's also down 2 combat augments right now, and Recombobulator does absolutely nothing for him.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm noticing as well that our top spots have been knocked down a notch here, right? Briks at 96 HP, he has lost his win streak. Same with Visa there. So You know, they're not sitting on the throne just yet. They can bleed. And Coco actually saying, right, it's my turn to start this win streak here. But Tiaan, I'm looking at as well, in a very delicate position, already at 41 HP. Doesn't really want to have a terrible first game to start off the day. We've seen day one, they had an excellent start. So we know that they're capable of these very strong finishes. But Tiaan's definitely got that work cut out for them here. Has the Itis, has the Siphon to choose from. Corki coming in now, so this is where the swaps are being made. This is where the board's coming in. A late trainer at 3-5, but you know what, Weeda? I have confidence that it'll do. Got the items to slam as well when they finish rolling and figuring out what kind of composition they want to stick with. Shimmer scale item, Diamond Hands, so at least they've got that in the bag. And it feels like they've got Dragon Alliance on the augment list for the next augment, because they've got dragons all over the board and the bench.
They definitely do, right? Something that's worth noting here, while the Diamond Hand itself is a very, very nice option, it's not necessarily going to be a guaranteed stick for the rest of the game here. With the champion duplicator on the bench, they are going to be able to... He is going to be able to fully, you know, transition that into second find the pair of dragons. He is going to, however, going to be saying, like, okay, this is just my board here now. His worst matchup being the assassin board is out of the pool. That is by far the weakest matchup for Corki. Though, like, whenever those assassins get onto Corki, it is quite hard here. Now, that is going to be a Corki 2, and I think he's going to be seeing another roll down here. And if you can find either Corki 2 or Itis 2, he thinks he's stable, I guess, which is an interesting thing for sure. But Sona as well now. This board is coming together slowly but surely, but it's all one start, which is not ideal.
That's the concern there, right? Like, he's got some strong units on the board, but currently only at 1 star. It's you know, contentious here, and we're gonna have to see if this Itis has enough in the tank to hold on against this Aatrox front line. Though for Briks, doesn't really have too much damage in the back. Got this 2-star Heimer, but apart from that, level 1 Tristana non-itemized. I think this Corki is gonna be able to rip through this front line here. But I mean, I'm surprised. I think Tiaan wins this one, but very, very, very close, considering Briks has no damage in the back line.
I mean, it's an incredibly early Diamond Hands, right? And you said it yourself, he breaks his board while it has been very good for him in the earlier stages of the game so far. That's Kokitsu and Itis doing the same job with Tristana as well. You can just utilize the duplicator here if he wants to, and just say, you know what, I'm good to go. But he doesn't have to. He has another shot coming through here. He could, theoretically speaking, get an Itis and then could have maybe just go for something. You see Travis over there with the he just knows what's up, right? And you see the duplicator still on the bench. You just know that Tiaan just got bailed out for sure about that shot. But again, there are sense in the lobby. Imagine that it's going to be inherently tough for him to come to play against and play around here. He's going to be super dependent on getting something nice here, and the redemption is not necessarily something you would pray for, but might be a slam just due to the nature of his HP total right now.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? You can look and say, oh, just hit, bro. Come on, it's that easy. But you have to put yourself in a position with a strong composition originally to allow for when you do hit, you have a really strong board as a result, right? You've got to have the preliminary setup in order to make that actually come to fruition, and that's what Tiaan did. Notice what champions and units he wants to be putting in and did that. And now we should see Tiaan maybe start to increase that win streak from a 1 to maybe, you know, a few more digits on that one. But we're going to be checking in with Visa and Brubbba here. Vice has got this Ezreal, which is looking very mean, very nasty, and I think it's going to absolutely decimate Brubba's board so at this stage in the game. And Brubbba, a very emotional player. You can see the thoughts on their mind. You can see their facial expressions as they're just thinking through what they want to do, what they want to change, and taking some of these losses. You can see the pain and the frustration on their face.
You can definitely hear. And also the Coco on that action mark, I always find it a bit interesting because I think it's an augment that a lot of people really have disdain for. No reroll here. Penitence is Penitence. Yeah, okay, that's going to be the pickup here as well. Just that, get that disarm in once you're going to be able to transition into what's going to be a She OU plus a Nivea board. You can see right now the items for both of those carries are currently on that Karma on the board as of right now here. But these roll downs are always a bit sketchy to go for. He's going to be going into a Shyvana instead, which is fine, right? But then you're almost down an augment to a certain extent now. Needs to figure out how to best get this in here. No Nico, which you also really want to have in play here, but again, gets that Gnar too, which is going to be a very nice
great Shyvana items though, Weeda. Let's be real here, right? Like, if this is any... Yes, you're down an augment, but I don't think it matters. If you 2-star this Shyvana, you're just going to be sitting back in your chair chilling for a couple rounds.
You're incredibly chilling here, right? There's even the angle here now, if there is an open spat on the carousel, you could go for the Dragon Lance of Shyvana, right? With the Jade Core around, you can see on the board right now, he's 2 out of 3 Dragon Lance. So there are so many different options here. You do see Tiaan is going to be on. I do believe that's going to be party favors, actually, so we get a nice little gift here some way down the road here, Malkin. Look at how much work the Shyvana won.
Oh, which way is Shyvana going to go? Not towards the Corki, but it doesn't matter. Shyvana still has enough HP left to say, all right, I'll come on over. I'll deal with him, and removes Corki from the field. What I'm interested about here, though, is that Coco's still holding on to the Anivia, still keeping that option, that angle open. Picks up the Ocean as well, just for good measure. These players know they don't have Dragon Alliance, right?
I mean, someone has Dragon Alliance, that's going to be Visor at the top of the leaderboard right now, utilizing that HP lead he's gotten from his very strong early game, as well as the Tiny Titans, just to start working towards a stronger Dragon board. Has a nice, varied set of items as well here. Infinity Force, fantastic, and go on literally any of the Dragon carries here. And we're going to be seeing someone fight against Tiaan here for the second fight in a row. It does seem here now. This should be a fight a little bit more... This should be fairly easy for Tiaan to overcome now, because there's not going to be a unit that's going to forego that front line of the Idas 2, because the duplicator has been utilized now. Realize that loss was probably a little bit too much.
Yeah, and Visor is quite the aggressive player, but now they're having to, deal with being on the back foot on this 2-loss streak, though still maintaining the highest point in this lobby. They're at 84 HP in that top spot, so they're still doing okay. They've got options, keeping their bench open, or even just denying other players, right? This is day 3, you're down to your 16 players. You want to come in first today, so this is where you start doing, the cheesy strats, where you start holding champions and units on the board, where you're like, on your bench, you're like, I just want to deny anybody else from getting these.
Yeah, today is the day where you leave everything on the table, right? You go out there, you leave everything out there. Like, if you sit at the end of the day and you're like, I could have done this better instead, then you're probably doing it wrong, right? Because, yes, there is no top cut today. There is one place that really matters to most people. That is going to be that first place. And now we can see Brubbba has gotten that Diamond Hands online. His item set, though, is still a little bit all over the place. Could be a Corki transition in the making, could be a Saya transition in the making, right? Like, he has so many options as of right now what he wants to play for. Like, this is a weird one. He's going to be on 5 Shimmer as well for now. Assassin Volibear. How do you feel about that one, Cyber?
Assassin Volibear, if it was a 3-star with maybe a Bloodthirster and, just a GS or something, yeah, I'd take it. But a 1-star volley in this situation, going up against this Shyvana Yasuo with the Thieves, I don't know about it. I don't know that I have good odds on that. I'm more of a Shyvana better in this one. But we'll see. It's actually surprisingly close. It's going to come down to Shyvana and Yasuo, the unlikely duo. And I think they're going to be able to do it. The volley's coming in big with this Morello. And no, Briks actually gets shut down. Scrap everything, Weeda. Volleys. Look at him. He's laying back, earned his rest, boogieing down. That was surprising.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, right, I do believe that I think it's safe to say here that the real star to show right there, that was going to be that Saya 2 that was picked up, swapped out in the last second here. But now, this board is still not easy to play from if you are going to be Brubbba here, right? Because there are so many pieces here. Are you going to stay on the 5 Shimmer scale, for example, here? Guillosko that now has that Pike 2 that he picked the Pike up from the carousel, had a duplicator on the bench. Now he has a Pike 2 at level 7. Could be looking into more of that Vertical Whisper I was talking about, how you were going to probably see this go into a Shiou. Well, that is probably no longer going to be the case now. Having any sort of AP item onto Pike is going to be massive. Still lacking that Assassin on the board to really help Pike escalate through the game here, but now that should be coming very shortly.
And Pike dealing with the only unit in the game that's not going to give him a fair fight. And it's going to be down to the other units on the board to actually get some good DPS going on. This Zarya in the back line chunking through the offense of Guillosko here. Is it going to be enough? We see the volley still in this fight, but now it's Siphon's turn to charge through and wreak havoc on the battlefield, and that's going to be it for Brubbba, losing that round.
Yeah, and Pyke has, very good damage, and I think that's the big one here as well, right? And even if he doesn't want to slot in a traditional assassin, he can go for Assassin Siphon off of this upcoming Treasure Dragon, which I do think is going to be the case in the outcome here. If that would be an absolutely massive one here. So I'll expect to see him roll for an open glove. I think that's going to be his best odds of making it, making something from this game. Could even go for something like, open chainmask. He's still lacking Sunfire Cape, right, which is an option for now. But even then you're going to be very far away from going for that Assassin Siphon. And here, this is a shop and a half, right? You even have potential for slotting in a Yasuo, one shoe level up to 8 if you find one with this type of item setup. It's a very good setup here coming through now.
Yeah, Hodges all day long has the potential to drop 3 of them if they want them. Guillosko here got the 5 win streak, and it's theirs to lose, right? You see everyone else in the lobby is basically goldless except for Tiaan. Briks even sitting at 0 gold at this point. Everyone's been rolling to try and get their ideal shrine shops. And Guillosko here going to be going Assassin Siphon. Now, this is something we see. Wida, what are your thoughts as a professional Siphon enthusiast for the correct angle that Siphon's going to go out with this Assassin Spat? Does this help his odds of hitting the right target? Does it decrease his odds? What do you think?
I've always been a little bit of a Debbie Downer when it comes to Siphon Assassin, right? I think something like Shioyu is a lot more consistent, but it can help you kind of forego that initial front line to a certain extent, right? Look at how this goes. But I feel like Siphon, if you position Siphon correctly, most of the time you'll have that same kind of situation built into the kits.
Oh! Yep. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just making a note of that moment with the Siphon. Did charge to the right direction, but ended up taking out the Lulu instead of the main carry there. So he, like you're saying, Wida, kind of had it, but not quite.
Yeah, it might just be me not really being fully in sync with how the positioning really should be going, but most of the time I feel like Siphon doesn't benefit from Assassin Spat as much as an Olaf does, for example, did when he was in his most broken state. There's also something that's worth noting here, right, with Guillosko still being level 7, not really wanting to roll down for a 2-star copy of Siphon. But this board from Coco is starting to look real spicy, right? There was a board that was a Shyvana on previously, now has started to shift things just around just a little bit. Has a very strong front line, but his entire back line, currently speaking, is going to be 1-star, but all of these units does do a ton of work at 1-star.
Yeah, this is just going to be Coco saying, please, everybody, hold the line, hold the line. My Aershin has to cast, and Aershin's actually building it very quickly with that Shojin, quicker than normal would happen. And now a few units get taken down, reduces the amount of AoE splash Aershin's going to do, but just not enough damage to really connect to anything. This Idis is so incredibly strong. Aershin's going to go for it a second time, but there's still too much on the board. I don't think it's going to be enough. But it takes out the carries. It's all down to Idis. Aershin's going to get another cast off here. And wow, that was... I mean, it just came down to too few units on the board. I didn't think that Aershin was going to get a second cast off there.
No, I mean, again, when it starts taking damage like that as well, worth remembering when you have the BT on the Aershin, it's going to be a lot more tanky. Speaking of a lot more tanky, there's a couple of unit upgrades in the shop for Brubbba, currently speaking, is on a 5 Shimmer Talon Saya duo carry board with a 1-star eyes in the front here. This is definitely not a very traditional board. It's a board that can work if it high rolls quite a lot here. It's going to come down to a lot of the fights in general. And now we're going to be seeing Mandu, the other player in the lobby, currently speaking, with Metabolic Accelerator, so just trying to make this game go as long as possible to complete it to a certain extent, right? Because you can get so much value from that.
Yeah, it's important to note, so on the actual overlay chat, you see Mandu is actually Unlucky Hamtaro there, and they have the Metabolic Accelerator, but so does Tiaan, so take note of their health and see if they end up getting knocked down in a round to, like we see right here, right, where Mandu's on 12 HP. You got to think about this accelerator. Tiaan down to 9 HP. So these metabolic accelerators are keeping them in a position. The rest of the lobby's coming down to meet them. The metabolic accelerator might just be that difference between an 8th and a 6th, or maybe even a 5th in this first game of the day. But I also want to note as well, we saw Coco's screen not too long ago. They were sitting on 2 Aoshins, and we saw them go first with Aoshin day 1, I want to say. So we know that it's a composition that they like and something that they can get first place on. So keep your eyes out on Coco, what they can do with that 41 HP still left here. But we're down to 4 players on almost single-digit HP right now. Very, very close to that point. We're going to start seeing we might even see a couple people go out this round.
We probably will, right? Briks now having transitioned into a Soraka 2 now, grabbing that from the carousel to believe. Right, this is a pretty nice... No, I grabbed the Sona with the JG. And this is a Savannah 2. He ended up going for Pandora's Bench. I was able to reroll these specific units on the bench now, trying to help him get into a better position. But it does mean that he's going to be down a combat augment, and Weak Spot is not necessarily the best augment for his composition in the first place. Trying to find either just anything really that could help him elevate himself here now. But this Shyvana is going to be an absolute menace. We're talking about it. Well, there is that Aoshin 2, Cyber.
There it is. I told you to look out for it, and here it comes. Nomsy gets Zephyred, but Shyvana says, all right, get on my back. I'm going up. I'm coming back down. Big splash prevents Aoshin getting that cast off that second earlier, but Shyvana is targeting the Soraka, the wrong unit that Shyvana should be going for here. It's the Aoshin Shyvana, the right-hand corner of the board. That should be your target. Shyvana completely off base with where they should be, and that's going to make Briks go 8 with the Shyvana too. I mean, you wouldn't expect that. Just goes to show how strong some of the players in this lobby have got their boards to be.
And you realize when you look at the state of Tiaan and you look at the state of Mandu, right? Like both of these players are currently speaking, like they're just alive due to the nature of metabolic accelerator and nothing else really. That is, that is just how this goes at the end of the day, right? That is how this functions. And that's going to be one of those where like, okay, cool. You know, I scanned the placement to with metabolic accelerator here. Had Hamster been on any other augment, for example, he might have been going out now. Visor's worth noting here. He's a 67 HP, but he also has Tiny Titans, right? So he's actually a lot lower in the HP total than it looks to be right now, right? Like it is just one of those situations where there's been a lot of these HP augments in the game kind of screwing up the tempo.
Yeah, and Tiaan here making some shifts to their composition, does get the Zoe 2, also goes down to 4 Shimmer Scale because they realize they don't really care about itemizing the blade at this point, and their composition's looking strong and fierce. I think this is a Ghost comp. I can't see a little legend on the board anywhere, so I think this is a Ghost, but another Ghost that you can see on your screen is Brubbba getting knocked into the gray screen of doom. Goes out. Oh! Mandu gives him a helping hand, says, Brubbba, don't take 7th. I got that, bro. You take 6th instead. I know you're a chat favorite, Brubbba, so I'm going to give you 6th instead.
Yeah, that's one of those things, right? And now you look at the situation, right? Looking at how Doom's position was for Tiaan until that free 7 where he just gets the double upgrades more or less for free handed to him, right? Like you look at one of the worst one of the worst recombobulators that I've seen in a bit, right? Like again, that outcome was solid, dude. Like it was not fantastic, right? And Tiaan just took it and was like, okay, I'm gonna play this all out here now. He's been in a position where he was able to sack to go 9. We calculated that somewhat correctly. And it has a pretty okay position to play from here. The issue is that there's a very big discrepancy between him and Travis, even for that top 4 spot as of right now. And Visor, with that Dragon Alliance here, has just been streaking all over the place, it seems.
Yeah, something else I want to notice about Tiaan. Look at their health, 10 HP. What do you notice about that board? Well, no longer about that board, but they had the Soraka in for a few rounds. They have the Metabolic Accelerator. This was the difference between going 8th and going 5th right now, and a potential top 4 finish. They got the Yasuo. Really nice itemization with the Diamond Hands, the Frozen Heart. Still level 1, but what can it do against this Assassin Siphon? We're going to see Siphon jump straight onto the Bard. Will Bard get a cast off? I think no, because Pyke says, hey, we got to stop that utility from getting on the board. Now Idis is in the firing line with this Siphon, and the actual Guillosko Bard does manage to get that cast off. It's Corki versus Siphon here. Idis does go down for Tiaan, so they're down to their last legs. It's Corki versus 4. I don't think Corki's going to have the damage against that incredibly powerful Pyke, and Tiaan gets knocked down in 5th.
He does get knocked down in 5th here, right? But again, worth noting right now, outside of Travis, the remaining part of our lobby are extremely healthy. And that means that this game is probably going to go a little bit longer. It's not going to be an 8-1 game like we saw yesterday. Cyber, so we're not going to be talking about Nicolas Cage today. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, no Nicolas Cage today. We have other things to discuss. And speaking of things to discuss, Travis actually performed quite well day 2 with Jade. And it was the bulk of what they were able to pull out their top 4s with. And you can see here that they're running another Jade comp. And what do you know, chat? The top 4, clearly Travis knows their way around a Jade board. But now Visor is going to be finding their way around this Jade board. Gnar gets Zephyred, not the best target, but we'll take that. Visor's Idis kind of in the midline there, soaking up a lot of damage from all these units, and it's the Shio Yu that's just smashing through the opponents here. Has the Deja as well. This Dragon Alliance is so incredibly powerful. We've seen it do so well across the weekend, and you can see in this lobby, it's continuing to put up a good fight. Travis is going to get knocked down in 4th, but still, we'll take top 4 in game 1.
You go start to the day, right? You want to go. Ideally, in any situation, you would like to go first, right? That's not going to be humanly feasible, right? For the most part, at least in a relatively equal skill level field here now. Visor, he's just chilling. He doesn't even have to go 9. He can just sit here and wait for a second, right? Because he has so much HP to work with, and he knows it's going to be a relatively long game that will 100% here. He's guaranteed to make stage 7, so he might as well just hold on for his gold for as long as possible, and then start to make some of those more expensive additions to his board. Once all the Yasuo starts coming into the pool, stuff like that, most likely.
Big Shroud on the Ocean, and Bard's going to get Zephyred here for Visor, so they're going to be very happy with this. This game starting out with a bang here. Ocean prepping for their first cast of the game. They've still got a decent front line, but Visor obviously using that Dragon Alliance, so this Aoshin damage is going to just be focused on so few units here, so it's going to be that much more impactful. This one's all over for Visor. Coco easily takes this round. This, I don't know, I think this composition for Visor is kind of, you know, a shot in the foot, yeah, a shot in the foot. I don't know the expression, because Aoshin, as we know, does more damage to each target if there are fewer targets on the board. So it's helped Coco get to top 3, but will they be able to dispatch a Visor? We'll have to see what Guillosko can do to settle down Visor's win streak.
I mean, it's also down to the fact that the Zoe in that situation pulled out 2 KO ultimates back to back. So that it was just like a good second where there was no unit remaining on the board that could take any damage from the opposition side. But also, we worth noting the Visor was, holding on until he lost or like hit an interval to level and start working on his board state. Guillosko's board here, right? He's been streaking, he's been feeling himself. His board is quite good. This Pike 2 is the real star of the show. The 4 Assassin now really helps amp up that damage. Even has a bit of action in terms of the bar, like a lot of CC coming through with the Ornn, the Kiana. So now he's going to be facing against the Visor here. Let's see if this is enough to take down these dragons, though.
Yeah, nice shot again. Siphon charges to the right direction. Same with Pike, but they're not actually getting onto the Deja, which is going to be doing a lot of the damage of Guillosko's board here. Now it's the duo act, Pike and Siphon. That's the duo act that you'd be expecting, right? The Assassins teaming up together to take down the back line, and I think this is going to be a continued win streak going on here for Guillosko.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot you can do about this board, right? Like the fact that Guillosko was able to hit this 2-star Pike on 7 and just been able to build around the itemization wise and all these things, right, with an open spat as well, has just been an absolute. It's just been an absolute blinder for him, right? He's just gotten a game. When I say handed to him, I don't mean as if like everyone could play it from this spot. I'm just saying that he got a clear game plan he was already angling for, and with the fact that he got that Pike from that carousel with a duplicator, he's just been able to fully activate that composition much sooner than you would be able to do on average, and that has kind of reflected itself right now in his 7-win streak.
Yeah, but we've kind of got this 3-way tie. I mean, Guillosko kind of beats any comp at the moment, but Visor beats Coco, but Guillosko beats Visor, so it's going to come down to the state of their health points as to who is going to get second, who's going to get third here. Does anything beat Guillosko's comp, do you think, Rita?
I don't know. Do you want to play a game of Guillosko, Le Coco, Visor Shoot?
Yeah. Let's set that up. Maybe people can get involved in chat with that one. Coco taking another hit to their HP here. Now it's Coco and Visa pretty much neck and neck.
I mean, the Diamond Hands here into the Kale ulti as well. Like, there's just so much invulnerability on this board. But it is going to be Visor taking another hit here. And I think to a certain extent, right, when you're looking at it at the end of the day here, he has Portable Forge. It's not a combat augment. It does give him, you know, the Infinity Force to help amp up that Deja damage. But he is going to be taking the consequence here. He is going to remove that frontline itis. You're trying to go for more of a flexible frontline instead. And just try to add more units. You were talking about, right? More units, the better against these type of situations that he is facing currently.
Yeah, for sure. And we've got a nice little respite here. We got a little PvE round to delay things that little bit. We're going to be going into stage 7. And this is one of quite a few games that have made it this late into these stages. So things have just really been stalled down. It feels like 8th place was 15 minutes ago. The way that these guys have been able to maintain their HP up at the top of the board, surprisingly not the Metabolic Accelerator players that have actually maintained their HP as well as these three here up at the top. Making these last minute kind of swap arounds. Guillosko there on level 9. You can see the economies on the right-hand side of the board, trying to keep track of as they're shifting, turning, things being sold, things being bought. You can see the movement in the economy of the players. But 2 players on level 9. Coco, still level 8 at the moment, not committing to going to level 9. They've not got the HP for it at the moment. They're just going to try and improve the board as best they can. Going up against Visa here.
Yeah, the double Zephyr is going to be massive here, but the Zephyr onto the Aoshin is going to buy so much time here for Visa's board to start ramping up and start dealing with damage here. But again, there is just so many of these strong units. But I look at that, the Zephyr bought so much time here now, it's going to delay the first cast of that Aoshin. Deja survives, but it's probably not going to be enough. Another Kale.
Aoshin's going to cast again. If it can live, I think it wins. Against the Shyvana, it does.
So close.
Oh my goodness, that delay there, even with the Zephyr, just barely enough to allow Coco to win that against Visa. Wow.
Wow, indeed. But at the end of the day, right, your Tiny Titan, second augment, you end up going into a board that's very expensive, very hard to play around, you got a lot of time. You know, play out correctly as much as you could, right? I think that was a pretty good game overall coming through, taking a third place, good start to the day. And also, maybe you want to peak later in the day instead, right? You know, well, you know, just, you know, play good TFT all day, and you know, the trophy could still be yours. Apart from there's another lobby going on off screen as well here, but now Coco versus Guillosko.
Yeah, big Zephyr on the Bard and the Talon here, so double Zephyr there for Coco. So that's going to delay things a little bit for Guillosko here, and there goes the first Aoshin ult, and it just decimates the board, absolutely. But Pike and Siphon, they're still alive. Same with this Ornn. Ornn's utility could prove vital here, but it's gonna just barely get taken out before it can be of much use. Siphon trying against this Aoshin, but Aoshin's gonna get another cast off. And Guillosko here, we're finding that their board is penetrable. It is defeatable.
It is defeatable indeed. And again, one more go at this right now for Coco and Guillosko. The big HP buffer here just is going to be a godsend for Guillosko, right? It's just trying to figure out positioning things you can do to kind of play around what's going on. There's also the exiles that you need to consider, so you can't just default everything into the same place. You have to dodge around the double Zephyr as well, which is going to be incredibly hard because Coco currently is being very, very attentive to what he needs to do with these Zephyrs.
Yeah, and we're going to see how these ones hit now. Bard gets hit again, and the Ornn this time as well. That could prove vital for Coco here to win this round once more, because that Ornn ult could delay the Aoshin cast. And as I say that, here it comes. The Bard ult goes off. A nice big knock up there from Ornn. Going to delay long enough. I don't think Aoshin's going to get a meaningful cast off, and it doesn't. They're trading blows, and Guillosko here has the higher health pool. They're trading blows, Rita.
They are. That's a Sin Emblem as well here. That could open up for some last-second optimizations of this board if he wants to hear from Guillosko. He might want to go for something like the Redemption here, just to get more power level.
Oh, he thought about it.
Or go for that Deathblade. He got the Deathblade.
Did he even get the item?
He did.
I thought it timed out. Okay, he did get it. I thought it timed out. That was close.
At the end of the day, that was a close one indeed. Now and again, Coco kind of running out of options here in terms of what he can do to sell units to try to move these Zephyrs around. Now it's going to be a pure positioning game from his end.
Yeah, watch the positioning, watch the positioning. We got the 2 Zephyrs going on, and we're just going to have to wait and see how this one plays out. This could be our final round, ladies and gentlemen. Coco on 9 HP. The Aoshin versus the Siphon and the Pike double act. It's a double act that has been very impressive so far in this lobby and is very impressive so far in this round. The big bug comes down, but Aoshin's already casting, so it doesn't matter. Here, knockups all over the field. Pike is low, but has enough in the tank to take out Aoshin, and that's going to do it. Guillosko here takes our first lobby of the day. Coming in first with a bang.
Coming in first with a bang right now was kind of, to a certain extent. It's not that I think